Part 2 of Alaska. All my friends have left. This is second, third, fourth week of July into August, and it's just a lot of fishing. So I hope you enjoy. I meet a lot of cool people, and it's fun. Here, I'm fishing on the lower Kenai. After dropping off my friend at the airport in Anchorage, I drove down to one of these campsites and try to get on the beginning of the second run that starts in about second week of July. Right now the fish count's probably in the 20s to 40,000 a day range, so it hasn't hit the peak yet. And I'm fishing next to these guys. I think it's like 4 of them, 5 of them, and they're all from Michigan or the Midwest somewhere. I forget exactly where, but they're pretty nice and pretty chatty and offered to help, but I don't love inconveniencing people. It's like a weird thing of mine, I guess. And he's upriver of me, and so it's really not easy for him to net for me.
Should be alright.
So I kind of just deny it the entire time, but it works.
I'm liking that.
But as you'll see here in this clip, I almost lose this fish. I try to get him up on the bank in the shallow waters, and he wasn't quite tired enough yet, and pops the hook, as you'll see here soon. And so this is where I go into death grip mode and pin him against the ground in between my feet and get him on the stringer. It's a close call. Oh, and then I inspect the fish because I saw a gash while I was finding them. And I just wanted to see if it was worth keeping or if I needed to throw away. Sometimes those gashes can really get infected and fuck up the meat.
I thought he was like a 15-pounder the way she was fighting. About 2. Huh? If you get them anywhere but the head, they feel way heavier. Oh, yeah.
This one was kind of a cool clip. We were talking about how if you get the fish anywhere but the head, they feel super heavy and they run for pretty good ways. And this is exactly one of those situations. And this fish is just pulling line. Eventually I just put my finger on the reel and on the spool and just try and just yank it in, but end up popping it off.
Coming? Yeah. Slowly but surely? Yeah. Oh. 소주. I'm out here with these crazy Koreans. They're all about 50, 60 years old. And I gave them some fish.
So this is one of the more memorable parts of my trip. I'm down at the Russian River, and I met these older, retired Korean people in the parking lot, and I had a bunch of fish that I didn't ship, and it was still frozen, and I don't have a freezer. I didn't want to keep getting ice and stuff, so I offered them about 30-something pounds of fillets, and they decided to invite me to dinner and get me drunk, and ended up hanging out with them for a little over a week, and a lot of fun. They all spoke Korean, very little English, and I don't speak any Korean at all. But I don't know, it was so very fun. They're very outgoing, and all had really fun personalities. So this entire time I'm basically fishing for food and alcohol. Not a big drinker, but it was just kind of the vibes. Everyone liked to drink and have fun, so I'm on vacation and decided to partake. And basically I'm a hired fishing rod. Just giving them all fish. And so you'll see throughout these few fishing clips, I call it the color of the fish, which is red, when it's got a pinkish reddish hue to it. Usually means it's an older fish and the meat's not as good, it's not as firm, and so it usually means we don't want to keep it, so we release it. And you'll see here I get a lot of pop-offs or pulled hooks because the Russian River has a hook restriction compared to the other rivers. It's only 3/8 inch gap from the barb to the stem of the hook, so you don't really get as much hook in the fish, so you get a lot of pop-offs and stuff like that compared to the lower Kenai.
Knocked over my tripod, buddy.
Who's fast? White fish. Yeah.
Red one.
물이 올라가는 타이밍인가 보다.
Beautiful. Wow, this is a big one.
So that was one of my main goals on this second half of the trip, was to catch, a big red salmon that already turned colors. And something that I did notice was all the ones that were red that were coming up were males. They were big males that I guess took their time coming up the river from that first run back in July, so over a month ago. And I guess they would hang out in the little lakes and whatever along the way before they make it all the way up to the waterfall. Very few females were caught. They were all just big males.
Still beautiful. The color, they were pretty.
Nice shade.
Yeah. Purple, yeah.
So yeah, it was a real treat hanging out with these Koreans over the week. They cooked real food. I'm a solo camper. I usually eat deli meat, dry freeze, ramen, stuff that's easy to cook. So it was a nice change. So as you can see, the fish count hit almost 200,000 in a day. So this would end up being the peak of the run. And I convinced one of the guys to come hit this run, and we ended up getting our limit of 6 fish per person in about a little less than an hour. It's a lot of fun. And the fish on the second run are bigger than the first run by about 25%, and they are fun fight, and they're in there thick. Also, you'll see me with a fly rod. I have probably fly fished once in my life, and it was in Alaska 15 years ago. And my buddy who came up and visited me while I was up here decided to buy one of those $100 fly rod, fly reel kits from Bass Pro Shop. And so all these guys, all these Koreans were fishing with fly gear, so I figured, why not give it a shot. It's not a whole lot different. This style of fishing doesn't require a whole lot of fly skills particularly. It's just a rod and reel basically. And this style of salmon fishing, but I don't love the leverage that you get on the handle and reel. I think I always end up trying to put the butt against my forearm or my body to get a little bit more leverage on the fish. But yeah, it's a different method. I don't know if it's easier or better per se. It's a little easier on the fingers because it's got a float line on it, but I'm way more comfortable with a bait caster in my hand for sure. Yeah, I didn't notice at the time because I got a fish on, but I saw this in the clip afterwards. This lady was walking by, cradling a salmon. I'm not sure what's going on, but to each their own. And then you'll see here I communicate no netting, just fish, because the fish were so thick, and we wanted to be there a little longer. So we said no netting. If we lose them, we lose them. Just everyone fish for themselves kind of thing, which I like. I like no netting as well. And then I asked the guy for a weight because I think one of my snap-ons fall off and instantly hook in. So this is a funny clip. My buddy fishing in front of me pops a hook from a fish, and always be aware, you can see the hook fly by me pretty close to my head, but obviously wasn't intentional. Just a cool moment captured. If you've ever been to Alaska, you'll know that everything is expensive. There was orange juice for $17. These steaks were over $100. So it was a nice treat. This is that orphan cub from part 1, where his mom and brother or whatever got shot. He hung around a lot. Super friendly. Probably won't make it. But he eventually got pushed off this little island by this guy. Pretty cool interaction.
A big fucking bear. Hey! Get out of here! That's right, Alpha. Bitch.
Yeah, so he didn't stay away for very long. I think he could smell the fish down on the bank. He ended up just turning right back around.
Hey!
He was probably 10 yards, 15 yards away from me. I'm just in the water, being aware, keep my distance. But even though it's a little worrisome, they just want the salmon. That's all. But yeah, it's one of my favorite parts about Alaska is how wild it is. You will see bears every single day. You're fishing for salmon. And I love it.
God, that mom is big.
This is the base of the waterfall, and it is loaded with salmon. This is a sanctuary area. Can't fish for them, but you can watch them. You can watch them jump up the waterfall, and every now and then, depending on the season, you can see bears down there catching them out of the waterfall. This is kind of a cool clip from Valdez. It's like sunny, and then you drive into basically a cloud, and it turns into like a whole nother atmosphere. It feels like you're driving into like another world. So it was a pretty cool little thing I'd never experienced before. But yeah, that's the Alaska 2023 trip for me. About 2 months in Alaska. Just living out of a camper, and I would advise everyone who ever sees this, if you've never been, go. If you have been, go again. It is incredibly beautiful. It is incredibly lovely. And it's incredibly wild. Enjoy. Till next time. See ya.